for a Jacobite reenacting kit. Would it be better to buy period shoes with buckles? There you go. There's your buckle shoes. Or make rawhide shoes from deer hide. I'm thinking a well-off Highlander, someone wealthy enough to have a decent clothes and weapons, but not rich enough to afford trews. Somewhere between wearing trews and silver buckle shoes and hide shoes with no hose.
Again with the shoes.
The shoes.
Lots of shoes.
Gotta have all the shoes.
Shoes. Let's get some shoes.
Take out my shoes and my glasses so I have them.
Let's get some shoes.
Throw back to the jerky boys. There you go.
Yeah.
Why don't you go first?
Spoiler alert. We got this question in ahead of time.
We got all these questions.
And what was his name again?
Colin,
I rewrote your question a little bit because you said big shoes in your message to us, and I'm guessing that what you actually meant was bog shoes. So here's the thing. That option, you wouldn't be wearing bog shoes, but you would be wearing what was called kurans. I think we have an image of them. Show the free feet. These were the shoe of the poor for hundreds of years. Basically, it's obviously what they were doing was they took literally rawhide from either a deer or occasionally a cow and left the fur on as an insulative factor. I don't think it's so much for grip. In fact, I'm sure it's not for grip, but for an insulative factor. And they just basically made a little basket that they could squeeze their foot into. And you'll notice the grass there. They would pad these, and this is a very old medieval practice. They would pad the shoes with hay or straw, again, for some form of insulation. And of course, it was replaceable, so you just put fresh in when you need it. By the 1740s, very poor people might still be using them and using them seasonally. It's more likely you'd wear them during the winter and you'd just go barefoot during the warmer months. But if you're talking about someone who has a little bit of scratch, yes, you would have buckle shoes. And we have an image of those too. Typical 18th century buckle shoe, you'll notice that the buckle is brass. It is not silver, and it's not the fancy Dan decorated flat ones with the corners and edges of the fancy buckle or anything. That is a basic shoe from the 18th century. They were ubiquitous. So if you had any kind of scratch, you probably would have had a pair of those. I think it's a much better bet. At least starting out, I would go with those.
I can't see spending any money on those. Oof, good God.
You're not a reenactor.
I know.
Okay.
Even back then, I would rather go barefoot.
Okay, so leaving Chuckle Patch here aside, it's the best I could do, improving, but they would cost more because of the skill involved with making them. You weren't making them at home. It'd be something you'd buy when you went down to the lowlands on a market day to purchase. Brass very certainly would have been, processed abroad somewhere and then brought in by somebody who's selling the shoes, making the shoes. So yeah, it costs you some money, but not uncommon, not really uncommon. It's not like you had the Hanoverians all in shoes and the Highlanders all in, kurans. It wasn't like that. So based on what you said in your question, I would go with the shoes. If you want to try making your own pair of hide shoes as an experiment, it can be fun. It's not a hard project at all. Go for it. But it is extremely rustic. You're basically walking barefoot. You'll need a lot of practice. 18th century shoes in general are hard compared to what people are used to. But having worn medieval shoes, I can tell you, it's like going barefoot, and you're going to want to toughen up. And if they get wet, they're going to be uncomfortable as excuse my language.
Guys, before we go any further in the question, I have a small ask for you, our loyal viewer. If you don't mind, give this video a thumbs up down there and or subscribe to the channel. It always helps us trick the algorithm. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Yeah. Do you have a different opinion on this at all?
If they get wet, they're going to be uncomfortable?
Yeah.
Dude, I cannot imagine slapping some deerskin rawhide on my feet and getting some grass clippings and shoving them in there.
You just haven't lived.
No.
It's the mushiness that always used to get me. Whenever my shoes got wet and soaked through. Now, with it rawhide, it's probably less of a problem. I kind of wonder if they would wax them too. But, like, get some beeswax in on the inside there or something. But
I can see it on the outside too.
Yeah.
Some sort of
Yeah.
to help
Waterproofing a bit.
a little
Yeah,
bit.
but I think that's why. But again, that's got to be why they're just going rawhide, so that they already have the water shedding of the fur.
Now, my reference point is going to be more 18th century America in this whole thing.
Yeah, go for it.
I mean, everybody had a pair of shoes, so you're still the buckle brogues. It's the simpler your shoe buckle, the more fancier they are. There's going to be that's where you're going to get more money there. But he's saying someone wealthy enough. If someone's wealthy enough, they're going to have a pair of shoes.
Yeah, basically somebody who's got like a small holding, they got a small farm, whatever. They're making good money off of, droving cattle or something like that. So yeah, they'd have a good pair of shoes. I think.
And if you get them like mine. My shoes that I have were made by a guy that worked at Fort Ty. They're handmade to my feet. Sorry, I'm shaking all of the monitors over here now.
So excited about shoes.
Yes, I mean, but they fit like a glove.
Yeah.
Like they are 100% made to my feet. There was zero break-in period on them.
Awesome.
So they are the most comfortable, most expensive pair of shoes I own.
But
they're well worth it.
Yeah, I think. Did you ever pad them with roving or anything like that? Did you ever insulate them?
I've done nothing but put my sweaty feet in them.
Because I know that was another practice too. Is like you very often you would pad a pair of shoes with roving, and that would just mold to the inside of your foot too.
Yeah, I mean like I said, these fit exactly like a glove.
Yeah, and again that's something that people are not used to in this day and age because we are so accustomed to sized clothing. We do not understand what things are made to your exact measurements feel like, and how much longer they can last also because of that.
Except if you buy a kilt from USAKilts.com.
Unless you buy a kilt from USAKilts.com. So yeah, there are plenty of sutlers. Maybe Matt can make a recommendation, but I would go with the shoes. I would go with the shoes.
He does no longer. He's in brewing beer now.
He's dead. No.
But I'd have to go back. I have sources. But yeah, unfortunately he doesn't make them anymore. But yeah, there are people out there that you're going to pay for them. But
yeah. Anything
like you said, they're
custom you
well
have to pay
worth
for.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
But again, it was a lot of time there was a seasonal or context driven. There we go with context again. We need to bring back the graphic that says context is king. You didn't necessarily use the same tool for the same job, for all occasions. So if you're going on a long journey, you wear your shoes. If you're just going up the hill to bring a stray cow back, you'd probably go barefoot, or maybe put on the corons if it's cold. We know from history from around like Rob Roy McGregor's time and everything. It's just the kids were all barefoot. You weren't going to spend money on shoes for them. So your feet were tough. The shoes, I think, if you're a Highlander.
I don't know how prevalent these would be in the Highlands, but wooden shoes would
not
also
so much.
I'm just saying in general, during that time period, you still have wooden shoes being used a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just a quick slip on and go.
Patents. Do you use the term patents for your time period?
Maybe.
Do you know what I mean by a patent?
Yeah.
Yeah. Patents are basically a wooden flip-flop that you could wear with your shoe to get you up out of the mud. I don't think they use them much. Not that I've heard of, at least. But, yeah. So,
as someone with arthritis in his feet, this whole discussion
just pain.
There's
between buckle brogues, wooden shoes,
Rocky, there's an easy period answer for this for you.
I'm a time traveler from the era of Nike who's going back and
there's a very easy period answer for this.
What's that?
You'd be dead.
That's fair. No.
I'd be dead.
No, I'd be carried around on a throne.
Right.
Okay.
Anyway, good luck. By all means, please pursue the reenacting. Get in touch with some of the reenactors who are already out there and have been doing this. There are a couple of different groups that are doing Jacobite reenacting in the U.S. Several of them are active on the Kilts and Culture Facebook group. So connect with your brothers, and you'll find lots of great options. Have a good time.
And resources.
Yeah, Fort Loudon out the western side of PA. They do a big event out there, and they have a market fair coming up soon.
Oh yeah, awesome.
So there might be a good opportunity to find something like that there.
Yeah.
There you go.